Hi AP Seminar, Mr. Muller here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about Level 1 research. Now Level 1 research is a term that I use for preliminary research as if you were writing an argumentative essay or doing a presentation. It's the shallow level research that ends up with you having a working claim that you can then dig deeper on to then write an argument. Hope you're excited, I'm excited, let's figure out how to do that. Now, there are a couple of different components to Level 1 research, and the goal of it, again, is to create your research question and a working thesis or working claim. That means it can still change once you do more research, but it gives you the basic structure to then go really in depth into those topics. It is constructed using a couple of different components. The first is a what, why, and order to statement. The second is a problem statement and research question. The third is an idea map. And the fourth is a working thesis or working claim. Now, if you actually notice from our list of videos, I go more in depth into each one of these steps, but this video is to give you a general outline of these things. Now, by the time Level 1 is completed, you're going to be doing some preliminary research. Typically, you want to cite at least or go through at least 2 sources per 250 words in a paper. But by the time Level 1's completed, you should have found, annotated, discovered about 10 sources, 5 to 10 sources, 5 if it's your individual essay, 10 if it's a group paper. So that means that you haven't done complete research and looked at all these different sources, but you have 5 to 10 credible sources which based your working thesis. So let's talk about these components a little bit more in depth. A what, why, and order to statement basically organizes a path to start your research. And again, we're going to see this more in depth in a further video, but first you basically develop what are some of your interests? What are some things that you actually like? Based on those interests, you develop topics. You narrow down those interests into particular topics. Once you have those topics, you think about specific questions in regards to those topics. We go through a particular process to throw out ones that are good or aren't good. And then once we have a decent question, we do some preliminary research, maybe 1 or 2 sources, to develop a what, why, and order to statement. The what, why, and order to statement says, what are you trying to learn about? I am trying to research X. That's your what. Step 2 is your why, because I want to find out what's the purpose. Again, here's what you're researching, here's why I'm researching it. And the last step is in order to help my reader understand. Remember, research is not a process for you. It's a process for your readers and your viewers. So you also need to justify why this needs to be done in the context of the academic field. I am researching this because X, and better to help my readers understand X. That could be people in an academic field. That could be anyone. Depends who your readers are. A problem statement then takes that what, why, and order to statement. So it says, here's what I'm trying to do. But honestly, no research ever gets done without understanding there's a problem that needs to be solved. So the problem statement takes that what, why, and order to statement. You do a little bit more research, get a couple more sources, and then based on those readings of those sources, you say, okay, there's a problem with this topic. Here's what I want to look at. Here's why, and here's why I want my readers to understand. Here's the problem. Here's what hasn't been answered. Here's what needs further delving. Once you've noted that, you then start off with a research question that says, perhaps a study answering the question of X will help alleviate that problem or address that problem. And again, we go more in depth on this in further videos. Once you've got that research question, then you go through more sources to look at the different perspectives from different lenses. So if it's in your group paper, and let's say there's 5 members, you need 5 different lenses, so you're going to have different perspectives for each. If it's going to be your individual paper, you need at least 2 lenses, or it can be 2 different aspects, and we'll talk more about that later during the semester. And so you need to find different perspectives of that topic through those lenses. When you have them all together, you create an idea map, which looks like this, and then you create a working thesis. Based on the different perspectives of these lenses on this topic, here's a preliminary working thesis or working claim that we can start off with that will lead further research. This doesn't mean you start a paper yet. What that basically means is congratulations, you've got an introduction done. So here's an example of an idea map. If we're looking at the use of coal as opposed to solar, what this person basically did was look at the pluses and minuses, so different perspectives on coal energy, and here's the pluses or minuses of wind energy. So it's just an idea map. It's basically a graphical representation of the different perspectives of a topic. So what does that actually look like in our class, Mr. Muller? Well, I'll show you one. This is an exemplar that one of my AP classes did. The research question that they developed was, should China continue to support North Korea despite its current nuclear program? Since there were 4 members of that group, they looked at it through 4 lenses. The Chinese government, so that's your political, the United States government, which is also political, and by the way, the Chinese and US governments are different stakeholder groups, so even though they're similar lenses, they took it from as 2 stakeholder group positions, an ethical lens and an economic lens. So you can see the 4 different aspects they're looking at it from. You could also see the perspectives that they noted from each of those lenses or stakeholder positions. When they look at that all together, all those different perspectives, they created this working claim or working thesis. China and North Korea have a mutual understanding where China maintains political advantage over the US and Japan through its alliance with North Korea, and North Korea obtains economic, political, and social support from China. Very clear, nice and detailed, and by the way, we go over a little bit more into what a good research question and claim look like. But that's a great start. Now, level 2 research will be after you have that working claim, now you're going to look at even more sources, see how that's going to develop in your particular lens, and build your argument from there. But don't worry about that. That happens in a further video. Again, this is the general process, level 1 research, to get you to a working claim based on a research question from a problem statement that developed from a what, why, and order to statement. And we're going to go through each of those components more in depth later on in further videos. Hope you learned something you did not know before. Thanks for watching.